Nerdmageddon.
Everyone, and welcome to Nerdmageddon.
Yay!
Yeah, we are live on KNWT's Facebook page. We're also live on X106 LP in Maryville, KZLX. Hey, everybody. I'm Devin. I'm the new Corie again.
Yes. Hello, new Corie.
Yeah, we're doing this again. We got it. We managed to get a second week off without Corie.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Corie is sick. She did not return to New York, just for clarification.
I heard dead.
Oh.
I heard gone forever.
Okay.
And not
Rip.
coming back.
Oh,
Rip
no.
Corie.
Okay.
Love you, Corie.
Yeah, no. Feel better, Corie. Johnny?
Yes.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm glad to be here. It's I'm always super weird. Like I never know how to say.
Yeah, I inherited the bad segue chair, I think.
That's okay.
Because I just I know we need to get your lower third up. So Johnny.
Yes, this is me. Hello. Yes, I'm here and I'm happy to be here.
All right, I'm moving on.
Okay.
Will.
Welcome, everybody. It's good to be here, and I'm not getting paid, so
Yeah.
that's show number whatever for anybody who's
Yeah, I
counting.
got news for you. It never gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah, we never do get paid.
They do not start
Nah,
paying.
We never do get paid.
No.
Nope.
Yeah. So all of our opinions are our opinions alone. They do not represent the radio station, the television station, the campus, Newt Gingrich, anybody else, really. It's just us. It's just the boys. Just the boys having a
the
tough.
Boys having fun.
The
Just
trio
the
de dangers for all you Dragon Ball
The
fans.
three amigos.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And
let's talk
Corie.
some news because I have killed enough of our opening time.
Yeah.
So we don't have a theme song. I just prattle on for 2 minutes. Will, you wanted to open us up. You've got something to talk about.
Yeah, so we're going to start the show off by talking about John Oliver. He came out with an episode on his show Last Week Tonight.
Which
about
one is it?
the
Was it last week's show or was it tonight's show?
no.
It was wait,
That's
what?
a joke. He's making a joke.
Oh, you got me so good. Why would you look at that? No. It was last show. What?
Yes,
I don't know.
yeah.
So they talked about the WWE and they kind of painted Vince McMahon as this kind of like I don't want to say like a villain or anything like that. He just kind of needs to do better as the chairman for WWE.
Mm-hmm.
They talked a lot about like wrestlers kind of like working conditions and how it's kind of gravely affected them over the years. They talked a lot about the death, unfortunately, that kind of comes along with the world of wrestling and how to keep kind of viewers happy with it. The only reason why this is news is because there's kind of some backlash too, especially on YouTube. There's a couple of videos I watch and they kind of criticize John Oliver in some cases. Do you guys watch wrestling at all?
I'm more of a boxing MMA person.
I think I'm more of a UFC kind of person. That's just what's more popular, like with my friends and the people who I live with.
I prefer Street Fighter. So
I prefer street fighting. Yeah. No.
You know what?
So-
I'll take it all. I'll take it. I have seen some wrestling, though. I'm familiar with the wrestling world to an extent. And, yeah, it's not surprising. It's a dangerous sport. They all are. I mean, football and boxing and all that jazz. It's interesting.
And I just kind of like the way they handled it because wrestling is apparently like a huge like entertainment platform.
Oh, sure.
It's bigger than the World Series, I'm pretty sure, as far as viewership goes. And there's lots and lots of events all across the country. And it's basically like this giant monopoly for wrestling entertainment. So it's kind of important that McMahon gets the attention that he deserves, rather that be positive or negative. And I'm sure that I can speak, other people can speak more eloquently than I can about this subject, but I thought it was like super interesting just to see like all the different sides of this community.
For sure.
yeah.
Speaking of wrestling, video games. I'm just going to embrace it. I've got a good one saved for later, so we'll just do this.
Okay, perfect.
All right, Johnny, ukulele, the spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie.
Yes. Banjo will be in Smash.
Really?
No, it's
Is
not
that confirmed?
It is not confirmed. But I have hope.
Did you see they leaked some art of good old what's his name, Joker?
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's leaked artwork for like what his pose is going to be, which means that's what his amiibo is going to be, and then also they have revealed that, but not announced, but like hackers or whatever you call it, data miners,
Yes.
have revealed that there are 31 character slots, or dummy slots is what they're called, which essentially means that like they've saved room for that many characters, and Piranha Plant was one of them. And then if they do all of these for Smash Brothers Ultimate, if they do 5 character packs for each whatever you call the bundle, I don't know what they call it, then that means that there might be 5 of those big bundles, which means or 5 more of those, a total of 6, a total of 31 total new DLC characters. And so if that's the case, which that is a stretch, that is like saying that this game will be out for like 7 or 8 years releasing new characters.
I feel like maybe it's an arbitrary number of dummy slots.
Right, I agree.
Yeah.
I do think that there's going to be more than just these 5 characters. They haven't necessarily said that there's not going to be, and so I believe that there will be. And I think they're just holding out on announcing that there will be a second pack or whatever you call it until after they release those.
It's usually
5.
how it works.
Yeah.
Usually run in seasons and they wait to announce the next season.
Right. So that means that Banjo has a better chance.
But I didn't mean to get you off track. Ukulele.
Yeah, Ukulele. I'll talk about Banjo forever.
Yeah, I know you will.
But Ukulele just released a free DLC that is a demastered mode. Basically, it's making all the graphics look like they come from the N64. And
are the scan lines on this permanent? Is that part of or can you turn those off? Do you know?
You can turn it on and off.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
yes.
it's there's a
like
mode.
Mega Man Collection does that too.
Yeah, there's like a mode that like there's this character named Vendy, and basically you go to her and you can like get 1 extra health, or you can trade it out for extra magic, or you can trade it out for like enemies take or give less damage, or they're weaker or whatever, and you get to pick one of these options, and one of those options is turning everything 64-bit.
So is it like a bonus feature that they do?
Sort of. They call them tonics, and so it's like you're drinking potions, but like you can only take one of them. And and another one, if you 100% the game with every single thing that you've ever collected, you get the pants tonic, which means you just wear pants. You don't get any bonuses from it. You just wear pants. And I'm upset that you can't wear the pants in N64. I want both.
Excuse me. I like stuff like this. I know people sometimes think this kind of thing is passe, or I guess cliche is probably better. But no, it looks really interesting. It reminds me of Conker's Bad Fur Day. It kind of reminds me of like some PS1 and like Dreamcast games more than Nintendo 64. But yeah, it's really cool that they did this just as they were like, here you go. Here's a fun little thing.
And I'm glad it's free because you all know that I would have been willing to pay for something like this. So
in a world where cosmetics are generally monetized anymore, I can feel that.
Yeah, it's good that I didn't have to pay for things to look worse, because I definitely would have. But yeah, it's really impressive. They spent a lot of time working on this. And yeah, they haven't even released it yet for PlayStation or Xbox. It's only on PC and Switch, which is fair for Switch owners because we had to wait like an extra 8 months for this game itself to come out. So all the Xbox and PlayStation people who are waiting for it to come out, like, wait your turn. You got the game before we did, so wait your turn.
Well, yeah. The Switch, by the way, which Nintendo considers a toy because they are a toy company.
Right, sure.
Like the toy company that might make dolls.
Oh, my God.
So we're going to talk about Chucky now.
Okay.
I held your hand all the way on that one.
You
so.
sure
You did a
did.
good job.
I saw where you were going with that.
The world's slow. It was a
halfway.
segue through the mud.
Good.
Yeah. Mark Hamill is Chucky. I believe the original actor, it's the guy who plays Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings.
Like the original Child's Play.
Yes.
Not Chris Sarandon, but
Brad Dourif.
Yep, Brad Dourif.
Yes, Brad Dourif. He played the original, both the guy that transferred his soul into Chucky and also, I believe, did the voice.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
He's going to be in the new. Actually, no. He was in the old Dune movie, but I thought he was going to be in like the new like remake one, but that's not confirmed yet, so I won't say anything about that.
Okay. Awesome.
Thanks.
Good talk.
Sorry,
After
guys.
saying it, you won't say anything.
I will not confirm.
I appreciate your input, though. That was helpful.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, so Mark Hamill as Chucky. That's an interesting choice, but he could pull it off for sure. I think.
You know, it's weird because they've already released a trailer for it. So does that mean that they just cast him, or they just announced that they cast him?
I think they just announced that they cast him.
Okay, because I was going to say it's a little weird that they would go so far along to make a trailer and release a trailer without even having the voice of him already, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm sure they've already...
Okay.
On the other hand, I mean, you got to imagine a good portion of that movie CG, so they probably are just, you know... That's probably...
Do all the Chucky stuff last?
Yeah, they could.
Okay.
They could. I'm not saying they do, but they could.
So Aubrey Plaza's in this movie, and her fate was not looking good in the trailer. I really hope she lives.
She's awesome. I love her.
She is Aubrey Plaza. She's going to be on the show one day.
She is Aubrey Plaza. Thank you, Johnny.
Did I say that?
Yes, that's what you said.
I said she's Aubrey Plaza.
She is Aubrey Plaza. Instead of awesome.
She is Aubrey Plaza.
Indeed.
Yes, she
Confirmed. But you know who he won't be doing the voice of?
Oh, no.
The Joker.
Yeah.
In Hush.
And what is he from? Yeah, Batman?
Yeah. So Hush is a pretty famous Batman story. It's the first time I think we ever see Jason Todd back from the dead. And then it later turns out...
Speaking of the dead... I'm just kidding.
It later turns out that Jason Todd... It's not Jason Todd, that it's this character named Hush. But... yeah, it's a very popular comic. It's just basically Hush like knows too much about Batman and kind of like tries to psychologically screw with him. Kevin Conroy, who is very famously the voice of Batman in the animated series and a whole bunch of other stuff, Arkham games and whatnot, widely considered one of the better portrayals of Batman. He and Mark Hamill, who has been in, likewise, most of the same stuff as the Joker, they both said that the two things they want to do, they wanted to do The Killing Joke and they wanted to do Hush. And they did do The Killing Joke. They were both in on that one and did not do so well for writing reasons, much more than anything else. It was pretty well animated. It was pretty well acted. And I thought it was okay, but they took some interesting liberties.
What was your kind of overall opinion on The Killing Joke? Because that's like maybe one of the only ones. No, the film.
The film.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why people don't like that opening sort of like episode that they have.
Yeah.
And I do have problems with it as well. I get why they would want to pad the length. I get the tie-in they were trying to make between the two stories. But it was really weird. It was a really weird story, and of course it has, they had Bruce Timm work on it, so it's got that weird, unnecessary sex scene that made everybody uncomfortable, because that's just the kind of guy that's the kind of art Bruce Timm likes to make, and he didn't get to make it on the animated series, but you give him a PG-13 movie, and suddenly things are a little bit different.
I knew that the comic itself was probably maybe late 80s or something like that. Am I right on that?
I'm not certain.
I don't know. I don't want to.
I'll look it up and you keep talking.
But that was kind of like an influential, I guess, comic for the.
Yes.
I definitely know. I know
for
it's
sure.
like pre Batman animated series, right? I should probably get out my
1988.
computer.
So yes.
Okay. Yeah. So,
late 80s.
And that's same. Almost a year later, Batman the movie comes out, which is two different things. I get it, but like. I don't know. Like, this is just like the one that I don't think I've seen. It's from 2016. I don't know.
I think the Killing Joke portion of it's fine. The argument to be made, not that I want to agree with the nostalgia critic on anything, but the argument to be made is that it is basically just an animated version of the comic book. Like, if you see like a panel of the Joker laughing, just like shake the comic and imagine his head's moving, and that's like there's very little new artistically about it, and there's very little that they for some reason, instead of padding the story or padding the visuals, they tacked that little mini episode onto the front instead to pad their time. So it's just note for note the comic book, which is fine. It's if you don't like Hollywood changing your stuff, it is a perfect adaptation.
I was gonna say that's kind of the opposite of what is usually the problem. You know,
well, it is. It's just note for note the comic. And that's fine. But a lot of people take issue with that opening, and there are a lot of people, I guess the more literary types, that like how open the comic is to interpretation, maybe, and then they thought that the putting it in animated form gave it sort of finality, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty. I think it's pretty underrated because people really like to crap on it. But it is what it is. They made some poor studio decisions, and it became the movie that it is. I'd still recommend watching just like the Killing Joke part of it if you're interested in seeing that story. It is a very influential story, and it actually got rolled into canon a couple different times.
The original, well, not original, but the 1989 Batman. It's not a remake though, right? It's just more of like its own like thing.
It's its own thing, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know what to call it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 30 years, you
Yep.
know. So like that movie made almost $250 million.
Goodness.
Let's see, 400 million. I remember like because my dad was talking about it, and he said the movie just blew him away. You know, it was just like so like because that was like Tim Burton like on his height, you know, like Edward Scissorhands and stuff. So he was just telling me like it made him like want to go see like more superhero movies and stuff.
I think it's still my favorite Batman movie.
Then like the 90s happened, we're like, all right, so then we had to wait
Joel
until like
Schumacher.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is, they did Killing Joke. Now they are doing Hush. It's confirmed, and they've recast it. They've recast Joker. I'm not sure who it is actually, and they're using the Batman they've been using for some of their later animated films. Like we we talked about last semester, the Death of Superman films that they're making. I believe it's the same voices, and it's their new 52 Batman voice, which nobody likes. Nobody likes that voice. But it's kind of a slap in the face, I think, to Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, that they were like, these for sure, the two things we want to do, we would love to do them, please approach us. And all of the fans are like, these are the two definitive actors for the character. And DC's just like, it's probably cheaper to just go with these guys, or whatever it is they decided, you know. They want to keep it in line with their New 52 continuity, even though the comics are not New 52 anymore, and we way moved past that. It's a confusing choice and kind of upsetting to me. But at the same time, a lot of people think that Kevin Conroy's performance is starting to get flat. So maybe it's time to look for another Batman. I wouldn't look for it in this guy, but that's just my opinion.
Are they trying to look for a new Batman in like the real thing?
Live action?
Yeah, they're still, they haven't announced anybody for that, I don't think.
No, not yet.
Oof.
Nope.
There's
Good
been
luck,
a lot
guys.
of hints, but I mean, nothing for
All right.
sure.
I want to move on to Walking Dead talk because
Now that's a segue.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's do it.
I want to save some time for the board game, and I want to save some time for that. So let's talk.
Yes.
Okay.
Walking Dead.
Just cut me off when you want to keep moving because I can
will
talk
do.
for a while.
I didn't watch it, and I don't care. So
Okay.
I'm just going to listen to you.
Okay, well, this whole since Rick has left this season, also I guess I should have said this before, but spoiler alert, Rick has left, and ever since then they did a 6-year time jump, and so now Judith is like 8 or 9 or 10. And so now the bad guys of the group are of the story are the Whisperers, which are like humans that are wearing the faces of zombies. Well, there's been an iconic scene that they're very territorial, and there's an iconic scene in the comics where a bunch of characters, their severed heads are put on pikes. They're kidnapped, taken apart, or taken away from the group, and then they put their heads on the pikes. And this scene happened on The Walking Dead about 2 weeks ago. And they deviated a little bit because the characters in the comics that were some of the biggest characters that were killed in this moment in the comics were King Ezekiel, and who was played by our good friend Corie Payton, who we met last year, and Rosita, who's kind of had a bit of a slow time on screen this past year. But instead, there were 10 characters that were killed in this episode. 7 of them, not very important, just very minor one-line characters. But the last 3 were very important and huge twist. Nobody expected it. It was Tara, who's been around since, like, the Governor's been around. So a long time, like 5 or 6 seasons now. And she died. Enid died, and she was another one that I really liked a lot. She was, at the time when Carl was around, they were kind of like supposed to be romantically interested in each other. I don't really know if that was ever going to happen, but Carl died, and now Enid's dead too. And she was a really cool character. But the biggest one of all was Carol and Ezekiel's son, Henry. And so he died, and that is going to spin everything for the next season. And it was traumatic for Carol. It was traumatic for Ezekiel. The two of them who were, like, quote unquote married, they divorced, quote unquote divorced because it was in the apocalypse. And it's really gonna push things forward for the next season. So it was a big moment, and a lot of important characters died, and a lot of important characters were affected by it. So I'm excited to see where they go from this. But yeah, that's kind of that was the biggest of it for me. Like, I watched it and I was just like, no, they can't kill these people off. Like, I really liked them.
On a scale of the other season finales, what do you think?
This was actually the penultimate episode.
Right. Well, yeah, and we talked about kind of how that is usually the big one.
Yeah. But for the finale itself, it was a little, I wouldn't say it was underwhelming because they put snow in it, and the first episode was snow, and they really implemented it in a really creative way, which I wanted to see. They always skip over winter. They're like, oh yeah, that winter was terrible. It's like, but we didn't see it, so we don't know. But it was for the first time they showed us, and it was really cool. So for that, I definitely place it in like the top 4, but I don't think it would be much higher than maybe 4th, maybe 5th. But yeah, so it was kind of average. Yeah.
All right. Well, we do have a board game review real quick this week. We played Jurassic Park Danger.
Yeah.
It was Eli's game. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was a really interesting game. So I guess I'll just start talking. I'll go first. It's like Villainous in a way. It's made by the same people, is it not?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So everybody's sort of got their own character goal to achieve, but it differently from Villainous, instead of sort of like all competing against each other, you all want to get your individual goal, but then the other goal is to survive, and everybody's working towards that together.
Yeah.
And unlocking the locations, getting the helipad, and getting your people out. All of that is cooperative instead of Villainous, where it's kind of every person for themselves with their own methods and goals or whatever. But I had a lot of fun. It was really interesting. I thought the character abilities and their goals and things were really neat. I was on a roll guessing stuff. I could guess numbers that I rolled and guess cards that I pulled. That was awesome. I'll never be that cool again. So my rating for this game, I had a really good time. 5 out of 5. It's a really interesting, fun game. 5 out of 5 dice that I guessed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree with you. It's honestly one of the best games I've played in a long time. I could tell that, like, I loved it because I love they made Ravensburger. They made Villainous, like you said, and this game, I love it just as much. And so I'm like kind of addicted to it. I've only played it twice now, but yeah, I would give it 5 out of 5. Scary dinosaurs.
It has to be a scary one, Corbin.
Yeah, give us a scary one. We lost. We were the human side, the 3 of us and Corie, and Corbett was the dinosaur team, and he ate us all.
We got munched.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, but I would give it 5 out of 5 scary dinosaurs.
Will.
Yeah, it's weird because you can play as the dinosaurs, so it's like through their own like conscious perspective.
And it's asymmetrical. The dinosaurs definitely have some advantages, even though they're technically outnumbered as a player.
Yeah, you get like 3 like different kinds of dinosaurs, and they can do different things to the humans or whatever. And there's just like a lot of like strategy that's involved, which is kind of easier to follow than most of like the games that we've played in the past. And I had a lot of fun with it, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5. Jeff Goldblum's.
That was my backup one if I couldn't think of anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. I love him.
It is a good game. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for our first segment. If you're watching us on KNWT, thanks for watching. Come back next week. You can check us out this full show on Facebook. If you're listening on the radio, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and join us for our main segment. Thanks for listening on KZLX LP and KNWT.
And as always,
you nerd it here first.